Hello, class. Today in Math 131, we're going to cover objectives 1 and 2. For objective 1, we're going to start with simplifying and evaluating algebraic expressions, okay? And for part 1, we're going to go over simplify. So let's look at our first example. We have 7x minus 8 plus 3, okay? So we want to simplify this, okay? That means that we're going to combine anything that needs to be combined, okay? So we have two different kind of terms here. We have a term that has an x, and we have some constant terms, the -8 and the +3, okay? So we're going to combine these two. So this 7x, we're just going to bring down, and the -8 plus 3 is going to be -5, okay? So that is number 1. Next, let's look at number 2. We got 9x minus 4 minus 5x minus 2. Again, we want to combine all of those terms that are alike or combine like terms. So I'm going to underline everything that has an x, okay? That is 9x minus 5x, which is going to be 4x. Then we're going to look at the -4 and the -2. That is going to be -6, okay? So the answer to number 2 is going to be 4x minus 6. Let's look at number 3. And feel free to pause the video so that you can kind of guess the answers to make sure that you are on the right track, okay? So for number 3, we have -6 times m plus 4 minus 9, all right? Now, notice how this -6 is in front of this group, okay? What we're going to do is something we talked about in Math 130, and we're going to distribute this -6. So -6 times m is going to be -6m, and -6 times 4 is going to be -24. And this -9, we're just going to bring it down, or -9, okay? Now we're going to combine the like terms, the -24 and the -9, or the -24 and the -9, however you think about it, whichever way is easier for you. We're going to combine those to get -33, okay? So we're going to bring down the -6m, and these two combined is going to be -33. So -6m minus 33 is going to be our correct answer for number 3. Let's move on to number 4. We have 7 minus 2 times 4x plus 5 plus 6x. Okay, so each example is going to expand, all right, to make sure we understand what's going on. So again, this -2, we're going to have to distribute it to the 4x and the 5. Also, when you are doing your distributing, make sure you keep the sign with this number. So we're going to bring down the 7, And this negative 2, we're going to multiply it by 4x to get negative 8x. The negative 2, we're going to multiply it by the 5 to get negative 10. And we're going to bring down that plus 6x. Okay? Now we're going to combine like terms. After we have all of the terms laid out, then we can start combining like terms. We don't want to start combining like terms at this stage when we still have things that need to be distributed. So the negative 8x and the positive 6x, we're going to combine those to get negative 2x. And the 7 and the negative 10, we're going to combine those to get negative 3. So the answer to number 4 is negative 2x minus 3. Okay? Now let's look at one that has a little bit more going on with it. For number 5, we got 9 plus 3 times, this time we got some brackets. We got 5 minus 2 times x minus 3, close the bracket, minus 10x. Okay? So if you took me for Math 130, you know that typically when we have brackets, we're going to have parentheses inside, and we like to work from the inside out. Okay? So we're going to start with this negative 2, and we're going to distribute it to the x and that negative 3, okay? So pretty much everything is going to be brought down except for this negative 2 times x minus 3. So we got 9 plus 3, open bracket, and then the 5, okay? So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is going to be positive 6. Want to close that bracket and bring down the minus 10x. Okay? Now, we want to distribute this 3, but first, before we do that, we need to simplify inside of these brackets. So we have 5 minus 2x plus 6. This 5 and this 6 are alike. So we can combine those to get 11. So let's rewrite this. And now inside of these brackets, we have negative 2x plus 11. Okay? At this point, you can turn those brackets into parentheses if you like, or you can leave them brackets. It's up to you. Now we can distribute the 3. So 3 times negative 2x is going to be negative 6x. And 3 times 11 is going to be 33. We want to bring down that minus 10x, okay? Now, we have everything laid out, so again, we need to combine like terms. This 9 and the 33 will be combined, and the negative 6x and the negative 10x will be combined, okay? So our final answer should be negative 16x plus 42. All right. And let's do one more. For number 6, we got 6a minus 4 times a minus 1 minus 5a plus 8, okay? For this problem, it's important to notice that outside of this group, we have a negative sign, all right? That means that the same way we have to distribute this -4, we need to distribute this negative. So it's like a -1, okay? So we're going to start bringing everything down, and we're going to do our distributing, okay? So we got 6a. -4 times a is -4a. -4 times -1 is going to be a +4. Then we have the negative times the 5a, which is going to be -5a. And we have negative times 8, which is going to be -8. Okay? So if we do not distribute that negative, we will get the answer incorrect, and that's not what we want. Okay? Now that everything is laid out, we can combine our like terms. Okay? So everything that has an A, we're going to combine that. That's 6 minus 4 minus 5. That's going to be -3a. Then these constant terms, the 4 and the -8, when we combine those, we're going to get -4. Okay? So the correct answer to number 6 is -3a minus 4. Okay? Now we're going to move on to part 2. So for part 2, we're going to be evaluating, okay? So let's jump into our first example. Number 1. We got x cubed minus 3 times x minus y squared minus 5z squared. Okay? Now, when we evaluate, we are going to be given the value of the variable, okay? So that we can get an answer that's a number. So my when x equals 2, y equals -1, and z equals -3, okay? Now, it is my recommendation, the easiest way to do evaluating is to rewrite the problem and plug in those values. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to leave a space for the x. When I have parentheses, I turn those into brackets. And I'm going to leave a space for that x and leave a space for the y. So what you want to do is copy the whole problem. Make sure you copy it correctly and leave spaces so that you can add those values in, okay? So everywhere where I had an x in my original, I'm going to plug in the number 2. So it was an x here and an x here. Then my y is -1, so I'm going to plug a -1 in here. And my z is -3, so I'm going to plug in a -3 here, okay? Now, whenever we plug things in, it is very important that we put it in parentheses because it's going to help us make sure we understand what's happening. So, this -3 in parentheses squared is going to make sure that we include that negative sign when we square that, okay? So from this point with our evaluating, we are going to follow the order of operations, okay? So according to the order of operations, if you think about PEMDAS, the first thing is parentheses, brackets, or groups, okay? So that means that this operation that's happening inside of these brackets, we're going to do this first. Now, because of the separation we have, you can, if you're ready, now don't start doing stuff if you're not ready to do it, okay? But if you are ready and able, you can do this and do this, okay? But we're going to wait. So I'm going to bring this down. All right. Now, what's happening in these brackets? We have 2 minus -1, okay? That minus a negative is going to turn that into a positive. So what we really have is 2 plus 1, which is 3. Okay? Now, our next letter in PEMDAS is E, which is exponent. So that means we're going to do these exponents. So 2 cubed is 8. This minus 3 we're going to bring down. And 3 squared is 9. This minus 5 we're going to bring down. And -3 squared is also going to be +9. Okay? Notice when I have something multiplied, I bring that down and put it in parentheses so that I can remember that I have to multiply it by this -3 and this -5. Okay? So now, in PEMDAS, if we follow it correctly, the next thing we need to do is multiply this -3 times the 9 and this -5 times the 9, okay? And that is going to give us 8 minus 27 minus 45, okay? And then we need to do our subtraction, and we should get -64, okay? So, some of y'all don't like a lot of steps, but we just got to do what we got to do, okay? And when we do it, we will get the correct answer if we follow the steps correctly, all right? Let's go on to number 2. Let's squeeze number 2 over here. So number 2, we got -2/3 D minus 1/5 B D minus AC, okay? Again, we turning it up. So when A equals -2, B equals 4, C equals -1, and D equals 3, okay? Now, we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to plug everything in. So we're going to rewrite it, and I'm going to plug in 3, 4, D. Okay? I'm going to keep writing it. Now, if doing it this way is difficult for you, I recommend that you rewrite the whole thing and then plug it in, okay? By leaving those gaps that I just showed you, okay? So B is 4, D is 3, A is -2, and C is -1. After we have everything plugged in, we will follow our order of operations, which is going to tell us we need to figure all of this out first, okay? Again, if you are able and know how to, you can work this out at the same time you work this out, but we're going to wait. So I'm just going to bring this down for now, and we're going to focus on the brackets, okay? Now, this is 4 times 3, which we know is 12. This right here, we got a minus a -2 times -1. Before we look at this minus sign or subtraction sign, we need to first do the multiplication, okay? So -2 times -1 is going to be +2. So when we bring that negative sign down and put that +2, we can see that our subtraction is going to be 12 minus 2, which is going to give us 10. Okay? Now that we are at this point, we can multiply. Okay? Now, hopefully you all remember how to multiply fractions. We multiply going straight across. So that means that this -2 will be multiplied by this 3 to give us -6/3. Some of you will have the understanding that because this is a 3 in the numerator and a 3 in the denominator, you can cancel those out and just get -2, okay? So whether you have to see it as -6/3 equals -2, or you see it like this, either way is understanding, okay? The same with this one. Some of you will multiply this and say -10/5 and simplify it to be -2. Some of you will recognize that it will be 10/5 and you will go ahead and try to simplify it like this by crossing that out and putting the 1, crossing that out and putting the 2. Either way is your understanding, which is correct. Okay, if you get number 2, if you get -2, if you get something else, then that understanding is not correct and we need to circle back. Okay, but if you get -2, whether you do it this way or this way, that's fine. Okay, so we should get -2 minus 2. All right, which we all know is going to be -4. Okay, so that is number 1 and 2 under the part 2 section. All right, we got 3 more examples under this section. So let me erase this screen so we can keep going. So for number 3 and 4, we're going to kind of go to something a little simpler. And then for number 5, we're going to go back in and spice it up a little bit more. Okay. So let's start number 3. All right. So we got -2 mn squared minus m plus 6. Okay. When m equals -3 and n equals 4. Okay. So we got -2. We're going to plug in that m, which is -3. We're going to plug in that n, which is 4. Make sure you square it. We're going to bring down our subtraction sign. We want to plug in that m, which is -3. And then we're going to bring down the plus 6. Okay? So, with this, we have some multiplication going on and possibly some addition and subtraction. So we're going to start with the exponent. For a problem like this, if you blurt out when I say, where do we start? And you say parentheses, no. Parentheses is like an operation happening in a group. That's our parentheses, our brackets, our numerator, our denominator, things like that. Here, the next step or the first step for us will be the exponent. So I'm going to bring down the -2 times the -3, and then 4 squared is going to be times 16, okay? This right here, this minus -3, I'm going to go ahead and change that to +3 so I can go ahead and get it out of the way. Now, multiplication-wise, I need to figure out what -2 times -3 times 16 is, okay? If you put that all in your calculator, you'll get 96. Plus 3 plus 6 is going to give us 105. Notice how I am writing all of my steps down. This is what I want you to do, whether you use the calculator or not. I want to see these lines on your paper. I want to see the steps that you are taking to get there. Whether you use the calculator or not, I need to see the thought process, okay? So this is number 3, all right? Let's look at number 4. We got 4x squared minus 3x minus 8 when x equals 5, okay? So, for this one, I'm going to do my little trick. We're going to leave the gap, okay? Going to match it up, make sure everything is typed correctly, and then we're going to go back and plug in that number, all right? Again, with this one, we need to start with the exponent. 5 squared is going to be 25. So I'm bringing down 4 times 25 minus 3 times 5 minus 8. Now we need to do the multiplication part here and here. 4 times 25 is 100. -3 times 5 is -15 or minus 15. And then we bring down the minus 8. Now, if we put this in our calculator, 100 minus 15 minus 8, we should get positive 77, okay? And now, drum roll, please, for number 5. I told y'all we was going to spice it up. We got b minus 2a over bc squared minus d. Now, if you can do 1 through 4, you can do this one too. Don't let the fraction intimidate you, okay? So when, let's get our values. A equals -2, b equals 4, c equals -1, and d equals 3, okay? Now let's plug it all in. For this one, I'm going to use my little trick. So we make sure we don't get confused. All right, I rewrote it and left a gap. Now I'm going to go plug everything in. So A equals -2. We had an A right here. B equals 4. We had a B here and here. C equals -1. We had a C here. And D equals 3. We had a D there. All right. Now we need to simplify it. Okay. After we plug in, when we evaluate, then we simplify it. So first thing I would recommend you to do is handle this -1 squared. -1 squared is +1. So that means we have 4 minus 2 times -2 over 4 times 1 minus 3, okay? Now we can do the multiplication here and here. We got 4 plus 4. -2 times -2 is +4. In the denominator, we have 4 times 1, which is just going to be 4. And then we bring down the -3. Okay? From here, 4 plus 4 we know is 8. And 4 minus 3 is 1. And this is just going to be 8. Okay? So the answer to number 5 is going to be 8. Not that bad, okay? All you have to do is make sure you plug everything in correctly, and then from there, it's easy to simplify, okay? That will complete objective 1. Make sure you have the correct 5-part heading on all pages of your objective 1 note.